Hey folks, let's try that again. I'm so sorry about that. I was having pen issues. Normally I'm good at catching that before the stream starts, but we were really rushing with setup because we were, making dinner and stuff before it started. But I figured it out, got it fixed, restarted everything. It is all good. So let's jump back in. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, so as I was saying last time, we're gonna have a base layer with all of Hazel's main colors, so like these browns specifically. Let's turn that back on and turn this down. And then her spots are gonna go on a separate layer so that we can copy paste them later so that we can do like a cool glow effect. Hypothetically. I haven't really tried it out yet, but theoretically I know what I'm doing. And I think it'll be pretty cool. Oh gosh, that was way far off. I theoretically believe you can do it. Thank you. Your belief in me means everything. Yeah, of course, your theoretical belief. Yeah. I know I've probably said it before, but I really like how the coloring works in this program, where you just have to close a loop and it automatically fills it in. It's not good for everything, obviously. I always turn it off if I'm doing line art. But for coloring like I am here, it's quite nice. Unless I mess it up and I don't close the circle, but... Hey Luke, thanks for joining us. Congrats on your wisdom teeth. I never got mine removed, but I had a dental surgery when I was around 17, and I accidentally ripped out all of my stitches like a week early. It wasn't actually that bad. Like, it didn't hurt that much. The dentist was just shocked when I went and he's like, oh my gosh, your stitches are out already. And I was like, I know, crazy, right? Hazel seems like the type of deer to mess with her stitches. Yeah, that's a vibe. I feel like she'd be the kind of person who would have like a very basic medical understanding, like first aid kind of stuff, and use that as an excuse to not receive help when she's hurt, but be like, nah, I got it. Like, I'll handle it myself, it's fine. Fudge is worth the brace's discomfort. I don't know about that. I think corn on the cob was the worst thing when I had braces in high school. And like popcorn. Although I still kind of avoid popcorn. Okay, I need to know the Matriarch family not in mission is my second lead, correct? Most of your theories were correct, Luke. We didn't want to get into too many details because we want to let other people, you know, figure it out on their own kind of thing. So we'll leave it at that. I'm eyeballing most of her markings for this. So like her ears, the lighter parts, around her eyes and on her tail, which I think is working out so far, but there is a chance that when we look at it at the end, that it might not be the smoothest, but I think so far it's going okay. How did you guys like today's page? I'm a bit further ahead on the comic than what is currently posting, so I keep thinking it's the next page that's going up. So I was a little bummed out that the next page isn't up already. But I have to hold off posting it because then I would be behind. Liked it, loved it, it was great. Nice. Good to hear. The next page will be the last one of them, you know, kind of dealing with their issues, and then we can get back into the main plot of everything, and, you know, things will pick it up a bit more. Go a little faster. It's a nice bit of character development between Hazel and Griff, and a sort of parachute from what we just went through in the hyena camp. Yeah, I thought it'd be nice, even though it's only like 3 pages, to just kind of give them a moment to breathe before they have to deal with the next thing, you know? And yeah, I find it really annoying if I'm reading a story and the only thing that's kind of getting between two characters cooperating is just communication issues. So I wanted at least one of them to be the one to be like, okay, no, we're gonna talk this out right now. We're laying it on the table. Like, clearly we're having an issue. Let's nip that in the bud so we can move on. Because I find that really annoying in, like, TV shows if it's, like, 3 episodes of just this issue dragging on and all it is that they're just not talking to each other. It's so frustrating. Yeah, exactly. I don't want this to be the kind of story where it's like, well, if they had just talked in chapter 1, we could have avoided the entire issue. You know? I'm sure that type of writing has its time and place, but I personally just do not like it. I have a 50-50 chance of knowing the matriarch's name now, but if you want others to figure it out, I won't post a short about it like last time. I mean, you're welcome to post shorts about it. Like, any theory that you want to post, absolutely go for it. I always find it entertaining to see people posting about Graycove. But yeah, whether or not we tell you you're correct is a completely other matter. Hello, thank you for joining us. Okay, where should the line start? about here. It's kind of a quick change. That's okay. We'll leave that for now. I might change it later, but we'll see. The matriarch's name is Felicia, came to me in a dream. Sorry, it's not Felicia. Nice try. Jasper is joking, it is not Felicia Day. That is funny though. WTF, that can't be true. I looked into Russell's eyes and he told me. Sorry to tell you, but Dream Russell's a liar. Felicia Midday. Okay, now we're gonna do the spots on this layer. It's nice, I mean, it's kind of annoying you only get 4 layers for each drawing node in this program. And the annoying thing about the color layer is that it leaves these lines, the vector lines, or whatever they're called. I'm pretty sure it's vector lines, but anyways. Which can be handy in some situations, but when it's like this and I just need an extra layer that's underneath the line art layer, it can be a little annoying. The matriarch when East 110th Street walks in. It is funny to think of the amount of hyenas who might just end up with numbered names, especially if they can't read when they're young enough to be going out to grab a sign. So they're kind of just rolling the dice, you know? Oh yeah, that's true. We decided if any of the kids showed up with a numbered street name, the matriarch, whoever that is at the time, all of the matriarchs would have done the same thing, would just be like, no, you gotta go back. Go find another one. 100% truth here. While searching hyena names, I got 3 hits only a few miles from my house. That wasn't scary at all. Yeah, that'd be pretty spooky. Sorry for the scare there, Luke. I think I got everything. Looks like it. We need to make a missing poster for the matriarch's name. The matriarch is nearby and she wants to recruit you. Terrifying. Yeah, we did pick a name for the matriarch. We were holding back on releasing it because we wanted to kind of wait to see if there'd be a fun theatrical way to do it in the future. So like I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but we do have one picked out for her. Hey, kind of off topic, but waffles or pancakes? Waffles, I guess? I appreciate that they hold, you know, syrup or butter, peanut butter, whatever you put on them. But I appreciate how easy pancakes are to make and clean up from, so... Yeah, exactly. They have the little syrup holes in them, which is nice. And peanut butter is a perfectly normal thing to put on a waffle or pancake. Are you getting any snow this weekend, Marshall? I mean, I looked outside briefly today and it looked like there was a little bit of snow. I haven't checked the forecast or anything. It wouldn't surprise me if we got snow because it's been snowing quite a bit this year. Not like a crazy amount, but it's been kind of on and off. I think it's going above 0 this weekend again. Oh, that's annoying. I like a solid, like, -5 where we are. It keeps stuff from melting, the roads aren't as icy. But we don't have to worry about, like, the pipes freezing. I'm in a bad area. We're gonna get so much snow that we are at risk of exploding trees. I heard about that recent, like I think I saw it on TikTok or something. I forget what the area was, but I didn't know exploding trees was something that could happen from the cold. And like, that's crazy. Oh, Minnesota. I knew it was somewhere in the States, I just couldn't remember where. Man, y'all are lucky I don't even get to see any snow where I'm at. I mean, there's good and bad with snow. I really like cold weather and I really like snow. And like snowshoeing, skiing, and stuff like that is really fun. But shoveling is not. So there's good and bad. Move to the States, I'm gonna see snow for the first time, I hope, in Texas right now. Does Texas get snow? I didn't think they did. Texas does get snow up in the northern areas near Dallas. Huh, that's cool. Oops. This is my first stream of yours I'm watching. Very happy I caught it. Oh, thank you for joining us. Thankfully, you caught us pretty early on. We usually go to about 9:30. It's 7 for us right now. I've read all the pages out so far, even the one posted today. It's the only reason I have Webtoon now. Well, thank you. By the way, I love the Webtoon. It's so good. Keep up the good work. Thank you, we will. We're still a little slow going with it. We can only do 1 page a week still. I saw a post earlier of someone talking about being hired by Webtoon and like signing a contract with them, getting a salary, all that. But they had to post, I think it was 10 pages a week. And oh my god. I don't know how they manage. That's insane. You'd just be working on it 24/7. And like, to be fair, I have other jobs as well, and like I have the YouTube channel and everything, but like, that's a lot of pages. You need a full team. Yeah, exactly. Like, if I quit my other jobs and hired someone to do all of the coloring for me, maybe I could do 10 pages a week. But like, I can already see the burnout that I would get from that. Okay, we're just kind of guessing the colors here. I don't know how. Let's see. Yeah, not the worst. Let's clean this up a little bit though. So just getting a real close-up of her butt. Let's move on. What else do you work as? I also create the shorts for Red Pants Productions, which is another channel on YouTube. So I make animatics with them. And theirs are usually quite a bit longer than the ones that I make. And then, you know, like the shorts for my channel. And then occasionally I get commissions. I don't take them on very often, but if it's someone I know, then sometimes I'll take on extra work. And I try to keep ahead with the comic pages, so like I said earlier, I'm a couple pages ahead, so I get confused by which one is going up. And then I'm bummed out that the one that I just finished isn't up already, because I want to see people's reactions to it. Yeah, that keeps me pretty busy. And I was doing a little bit of volunteer work with another startup project. I don't know how much I can talk about it at all because I don't think that they're posting it yet, but it was they're working on like a proof of concept for a first episode of like a kids show. So I was doing some like concept art for them and some character turnarounds. Not a ton, but I did a couple of drawings for them and I might be helping them with the background art once they get to that stage. No, gotta do her hands first. Then we can do her spots. Outside of Webtoon, do you have any more plans for where you think Graycove could go? I mean, a couple. We want to do, or I should say I really want to do another short film like I did in school, because that one, you know, there was a time limit, things got kind of rushed. It was my first try, or my first pass at making character rigs. And like since then I've learned a lot more about rigging than when I made them. So like the ones that I already have, like they're kind of useless. They're just gonna get scrapped. I'm gonna start from scratch. But you know, like a short film takes a couple months of work. Oh yes, and Readality. That's like a new reading program that's coming out. It's for the MetaQuest. So it's like a VR platform for reading like comics and picture books, stuff like that. So you can see them in like virtual reality and have like, so it feels like you're holding like a physical copy. And their entire idea with that was that it would cut down severely on printing, but then people can still feel like they're holding the books. They can blow up the pages so they're easier to read. They'd be more affordable than buying a physical copy because, you know, there's a lot of money that goes into printing stuff like that. I don't know if the app is up yet or not. I started making the like profile for Graycove. I made a whole like cover page for it. It took me a couple days of work. And then I can't actually tell if they're posting though, which is a little funky. I might send an email to their team just to be like, hey, like, is this up? I can't really tell if anyone can see what I'm posting. Like, it might be a good idea to have a little bit more on like just the computer side of it so I can see what it looks like in the program to make sure it's good. But like the whole idea of it sounds really cool, and like you can decide what environment that you want to be reading in. So like you can potentially have custom environments. So you have like a little virtual reality library that you can sit in. And like I think they were talking about like having collectibles for different series and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know the specifics and like everything on how it would work, but it sounded really cool. They also talked about potentially having like meeting rooms in VR. So it'd be like you could actually like meet the author over VR and like they could talk about the book or like show off some of the pages, something like that. And I don't know, it just sounded really cool. Because I've been to a couple book signings because we worked at a bookstore, and one of the biggest issues is if you like an author that lives in a different country, you're probably never going to see them in person, you know? So, cool idea. Everything you make is super awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sounds pretty cool, but unfortunately I get motion sickness when it comes to VR. But by the end I got very dizzy. Still sounds cool. Yeah, I have mixed reactions with VR. Some VR games make me super motion sick. Like I tried playing Skyrim in VR and I think I only lasted like 10 minutes. But I can play stuff like Beat Saber. So if there's no moving around, I'm usually fine. But yeah, the second there's any kind of movement, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw up. I gotta take this off. What inspired you to create Tales from Graycove? A couple of different things. I kind of just ended up doing it in a sense because I started posting the shorts and then they got popular. And then I was like, oh, okay. And it slowly just became my job. But the first thing I made for it was my short film. And I feel like some of the choices I made during that was partly just for a joke. So like when I started making the short film, I had a deer character and I had the little fox character. And someone in the class that I was in asked like, oh, are they best friends? And I just felt like being contradictory, so I was like, no, they're siblings. And then I stuck with that. And then in the whole story writing process of like coming up with the whole world, I just remember reading somewhere a piece of writing advice that was like, if you can't think of anything, then just imagine a world that you would want to live in and write that. And I was feeling very nihilistic at the time. And I was like, you know, seeing all these environmental disasters happening and like politics going terribly as they are still. And I was like, you know, it'd be great, just no humans. They're all gone. We'll go from there. Oh, you're the person who did those animatics? Wow, I finally find you. Your OCs are awesome. Yep, that's me. Thank you for joining us. Man, I wish I could watch this, but my attention span is too damn short to watch this. Might watch it when it's done, though. Fair enough. Thank you for joining us while you did. Oh dude, I almost forgot. I don't know if you remember me at all from a different stream, but I took the advice you gave me and actually started practicing drawing a little every day, and I'm getting better. Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations! I think drawing is a wonderful hobby to pick up. And yeah, that's wonderful. That makes me really happy to hear. I'm glad that you're finding enjoyment and seeing improvement. You draw dinosaurs now? Awesome. Good choice. Love a good dinosaur picture. My comic was definitely inspired by yours a bit. Some of my own ideas thrown into the mix. Just finished part 50 actually, only a year and a half left to go at this rate. That's awesome, Luke. Good job. Yeah, I feel that. I feel like we have like 2 years left before the main story of Graycove is finished and we're on to the next one. Okay. Oop, forgot her feet. Which character is your favorite? I think the matriarch is my favorite. Oop, wrong layer. I think the matriarch is probably my favorite. She was very fun to write. Kind of annoying to draw, but overall I think she's probably one of my favorites. Probably Daisy, always happy to see her. I am so sorry, Norse, but I don't know how much you're gonna see Daisy in the comics. I'm sure you know why, but I'm like, we'll show her probably like once or twice. In like flashbacks or something, but hi, what did I miss? Not much. You haven't really missed anything. We're doing an animation. We're working on this walk cycle. We're coloring it in right now. We're getting really close. For a while I thought Daisy was the matriarch. Yeah, no, Daisy is Hazel and Russell's mom. And she probably won't be in the comics very much because she's quite dead. I live, I had surgery, I'm good, yay stream. Glad you're okay, Wolf. Herb seems to be a bit of my personality. That's fair. Herb is one of those characters that is gonna have a little more depth to him later on, I think. But yeah, I think he'll be a cool character. Wait, speaking of lost characters, the fans need to know the bear in the most recent short is or isn't Bernard. I don't think they are, but I don't think they're Emma either, right? You're correct. They are not Bernard, but they are also not Emma. It's a separate grizzly bear character, I think. He's in the background of chapter 1. He's like one of the bearers in the barracks getting ready for a shift. But yeah, we haven't done any shorts with Bernard. But Bernard is a black bear. Gotta go. I'll try and come back before the stream is over, though. Well, thank you for joining us while you could. Like headcanon voices. Yeah, I have a couple of headcanon voices for each character. The problem with that is that I can't remember most of the actors' names off the top of my head to tell you. I do remember thinking that the voice actress who plays Beatrice Horseman in BoJack would be a cool choice for the matriarch. But I also just really love all of her voice acting. She's a really, and like acting in general, she's a good actress. Fully don't remember her name though. And yeah, Nick Miller, I forget the actor's name, from New Girl was my first pick for Griff. Obviously these are all, you know, they're headcanon voices. I don't know in what world we would be crazy lucky enough to be able to afford hiring like real big popular actors like that. Yeah, she's also Ida in Owl House. Ida the Owl Lady. Jake Johnson, yeah, that's it. Thank you. I just really love people who have very identifiable voices. That's like one of my favorite things watching a cartoon is be like, oh, that's that character from this show, and oh, that's character from this show. Like, crazy. We can't afford hiring big popular actors like that. Well, not with that attitude. Stephanie Beatrice. I don't think we can afford her either, Jasper. That would be very cool, though. You guys can get character actress Margot Martindale to voice the matriarch. I would let Margot Martindale have any role that she wanted. She could have the pick of any character. I don't even care if it doesn't fit. She can be Russell if that's what she wanted. If we could get her involved, absolutely. And yeah, Ted Danson, crazy. I think I've had like a couple of actresses in mind for Hazel, but like the one that I always hear and I'm like, oh man, I would love that voice for her is the actress who plays Robin in Stranger Things, because she has kind of like kind of hoarse voice almost. Yeah, I just really like her voice. It's nice. Maya Hawke, right, thank you. Tom Holland, Griff, Zendaya, Hazel, boom there. I mean, they're both wonderful actors. I don't know if that would fit. If the matriarch's name really is Joyce, then Winona Ryder would be crazy. Sorry, Luke, it's not Joyce. That would be really funny, though. And I've done so many shorts using audios from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia that I feel like I just hear Charlie Day's voice now whenever I think of Russell. But again, these are all people that we could not possibly afford, so it's all hypothetical. You should make music for Graycove. I have been thinking of it. I can play piano, I can play a little bit of violin. I've been wanting to make just like a cute little tune, no words or anything, just something similar to Fox in the Field, where it's just kind of like a cute, light little tune. But the problem with that is I can play music, I don't know how to compose music. So all of my ideas for that are theoretical. And I got some good advice the other day because one of the or I guess both of the dudes from Red Pants, they're in like audio engineering stuff. They know how to put music together. And they did offer their help, but I was like, no, first I need to try it myself. But they gave good advice, which was just hook up your recording thing to your keyboard, go nuts for like an hour, see what comes out of it. So eventually I'm gonna do that. I just haven't yet. Yeah, we could talk to Fikayo. He knows music. It's one of those things where I feel the need to try doing it by myself first, even though I know that I am absolutely not, you know, the best in that, just to see if I can do it, and then when I fail horribly, then I'll ask for help. Okay, am I doing these ears right? I think this needs to be a little bit thicker. Jeremy Allen White for Russell, just for the rage. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna need some more context, like he plays blank in whatever show, you know? I know a person that makes music. If you don't mind, I'll point them your way, Marshall. See, the thing, I know a couple people who make music, so it's not so much that's the problem. It's that I need to figure it out by myself first, or at least give it a shot, and then go from there. Oh, Lip from Shameless. That would be cool. Although I'm suddenly forgetting what he sounds like. Is there a Graycove Discord? I'd love to join if available. No, there isn't one. I mean, if someone wanted to start a fan one, go for it. I have an issue with group chats, and I don't want the responsibility of running and monitoring. Yeah, exactly what Jasper just said. I don't want to have to run it and monitor it. I have a thing about group chats. The second there's more than like 4 people in it, then I just stop responding and looking at it. It eventually gets muted, and I just kind of ghost. I want to talk and chat with everyone, including Marshall, but I don't know what to say. Very tired right now, making it hard to think. I feel that, y'all. It's... Talking for 3 hours straight is very difficult. And I'm not particularly good at it, which is why there's sometimes just 10 minutes of silence, because I forget. But I'm doing my best. Yeah, exactly. No pressure here. If you don't want to chat, you don't have to chat. You can just hang out. The only person with the pressure to chat is me. Actively working on a presentation right now titled Totally Real and Good Fusion Presentation. It sounds totally real and good. And shift this back a little bit. Oop, too much. I do wish there was a central Graycove place to discuss freely. I've been cooking up fan art for the past month, but Twitter is dead when it comes to Graycove interaction. Yeah, we're not on Twitter, so like if you're posting it and hoping that we'll see it, we won't. I don't really want to make a Twitter account. The only places we'll really see anything, if you want us to see it, is YouTube and Instagram. Specifically, you have to tag us or we're never gonna find it. But yeah, you guys can make fan communities wherever you want. Graycove Minecraft. I mean, I have been wanting to make a little Graycove in Enshrouded, because they have really cool building capabilities in it. I make sure to share your comic on platforms. Well, thank you, Wolf. We appreciate it. If we reached like $100 a month from coffee, maybe we could afford to run a Minecraft server. That's fair. I'm just waiting for someone to make a series of drawings of the characters as humans to see if people see it the same as me. That's fair. I did one drawing of Hazel as a human because I thought that would be fun and good practice. And I meant to do one for Griff, and then I never got to it. I'm like, I might eventually, but I got distracted. Crap, I'm doing this on the wrong layer. I use Tiny Glade whenever I want to try and design a town for D&D campaigns. Yeah, I tried Tiny Glade around the time it first released, but they've updated it quite a bit since then, so I kind of want to try it again to see how it is. You know, like at one point I made Graycove in Manor Lords. Because it looked like a fun game, I wanted to try it, and I was like, well, this is a good way to practice like the layout for the town and kind of see what the population looks like per building. That was quite a while ago as well. I wanted to ask, I probably won't be able to use it, but what app are you using for this drawing / animation? So I'm using Toon Boom Harmony. I'm using the premium version so that you get like the node view. I think that was the main difference between premium and like one step down. And I needed that because I was making animation rigs for a while for money until I realized the amount of money I was getting wasn't worth it for the amount of headache for making one rig. And I only use this for animating. If I'm making the animatics, because they're basically just like a couple of drawings, I usually use the animation feature in Procreate on my iPad. They've added a bunch of stuff and various other tools. Also, yeah, I enjoyed Manor Lords too, but had to drop it because of lack of updates. Last I heard, there are more updates coming out, thankfully. Yeah, I think there was a couple of updates since I played it last. Usually, if a game is still updating, like, I'll play it once and then I'll drop it for like a year or so and then pick it up again. Oh, this one's really tiny. I don't want to size my brush down. Okay, they're bleeding. Let's try that again. Imagine Barnes & Noble took interest and offered to do physical copying in their store. Yeah, unfortunately that's not quite how publishing works. Like the bookstore itself doesn't publish them. You'd have to go to a publisher and, you know, either figure out a deal and they'd start printing them, or you self-publish, print them yourself, and then bring them to a bookstore. And I believe the one that we used to work at did a 40-60 consignment, so you would get 60% of the profits and the store would keep 40. But then you're taking on a lot more risk because you have to print it yourself, and you know they might not sell at all, and then you're only selling them through a local bookstore, so it's a very small audience. So, you know, there's pros and cons, and like some self-published books do really, really well, because we've seen that before as too. So, you know, it all depends. There's a couple different ways you can go about it. Hi, Marshall. Sorry for being late. My home city of Houston is under storm warning right now. Hope the power doesn't go off. Well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully stay safe. And hopefully it's not too bad. I have a friend and her comic Doghouse got picked up by Raid Press for physical release. Oh, that's kind of cool. I think I've read some of that one. It was interesting. It's nice when you can see smaller creators like starting on Webtoon and then finding success, getting printed, stuff like that. And we saw that quite a lot while we worked at the bookstore. Like, we would get new graphic novels come in with a little Webtoon logo in the corner. It's like, oh, crazy. I remember seeing this when it was first coming out. Now it's a physical book. Like, that's crazy. Okay, that one seems finished. Next one. This is by far the most boring part of doing a walk cycle, coloring it in at the end, so it's nice to have a bit of company while I'm doing this. Normally I end up putting on a movie or audiobook or something, but even then it's still very boring. So Marshall, you can go with the self-published method if Graycove gains enough popularity. Yeah, maybe. If we actually get to the point where it's finished and we would have enough to print, that would be really cool. If that were the case, I would probably try to find a publisher, see what options are, but I would want to try to avoid self-publishing if I could, just because then, you know, the brunt of the responsibility of it goes to me. I would not be against passing it to the sounds of music, Marshall, and the mouse wheel scroll sound right now. Sorry, I didn't know my mouse was so loud. It's unavoidable. It's the fastest and easy way for me to zoom in and out. Yeah, exactly what Jasper just said. Publishing gives you a lot more potential, and like, you know, it gets spread further out because any bookstore then could pick it up. And yeah, it also depends, which publisher you go through, because most of the time a bookstore, if they order a book in, if it doesn't sell within a certain amount of time, they can send it back to the publisher and get a credit to order some more books, something like that. But not all publishers give you that option. So we had some where if you ordered from the US, then the main US publisher, you couldn't send them back, so we had to guarantee if we brought it in, we would only do special orders. And we would warn customers ahead of time, like, hey, you kind of have to buy this if we order it in for you, because we can't send it back. Where most of the time, if someone ordered something in and they saw it and they're like, actually, I kind of don't want this anymore, we'd be like, meh, not a big deal, goes on the shelf. If it doesn't sell, we'll send it back. So, you know, there's pros and cons with every route that you take, but a publisher would be the ideal way to go about it, I think. I actually had a dream where you finally made Griffin Hazel plushies, and I was so happy, and then I woke up and haven't emotionally recovered since. Sorry, Luke. That's rough, buddy. Will we ever get plushies? Probably not anytime soon. One of the main issues with making plushies is they're either from a sweatshop, which is not ethical, and we would want to try and make sure that they're ethically sourced, which is surprisingly hard to find. And if they are ethically sourced, they're usually very, very, very expensive. And yeah, with a lot of those places, you have to kind of order in bulk, and the risk of not enough people buying is too high. So there's a couple of different issues with that. The biggest one being it's hard to find a ethical source for them. There is currently exactly one Graycove plush in existence. It is mine. Jasper made it for me. I think it was a birthday present. It was birthday or Christmas. It was something big, but it was Christmas. I remember now. It was a Christmas present. And his mom helped him make it. And it's taller than I am. And the middle part is weighted, which is really nice. I don't really move it around very much, though, because it has a small, like, split in one of the seams, and I don't want it to fall apart. So she lives safely on a shelf somewhere. I can definitely see Graycove merch consisting of acrylic keychains. Yeah, that's fair. I was looking at making stickers or something. I was checking out one local printing company. And I sent them a message, and I asked for one of their test packages, and they never got back to me. And then I forgot to follow up on any of that idea. But yeah, with any kind of merch, there's a level of risk that you take because you're putting money into getting it printed and everything, and if you don't have a guarantee of selling at least a certain amount of it, then you're basically just losing all of that money, and now you're stuck with all of this merchandise that you don't necessarily want just hanging around your house. And yeah, we're not in a financial situation where we want to invest a lot of money like that and then potentially not get anything back from it, you know? So maybe in the future, but we gotta see. And obviously, things like stickers, they're a lot cheaper to print off in terms of merch. But, you know, if we really went into that and we were planning on shipping out and stuff from our house and really getting into it, I would want to have a variety of merch available, not just one or two stickers. So we'll have to see. Marshall, have you seen the movie Surf's Up? Do you think Chicken Joe and Hazel would be friends? I have seen Surf's Up, but I haven't seen it since I was like 8 or maybe younger. And I think I only saw it once or twice when I was a kid, so I don't remember too much. But from what I remember of Chick and Joe, yes, I think they would be friends. But to be fair, I think Hazel would try to be friends with just about anybody. She would at least put in like the effort. Yeah, exactly what Jasper just said. Once he's out of school, we can reassess. But at the moment, it's just not a great time for merch stuff. With your current financial situation, making merch would financially as risky as running blindfolded into a minefield. Pretty much, yeah. So once we have a little more disposable income, we'll look at some options. I also thought it'd be cute to make like Graycove shirts that look kind of like university sweaters, where it just says like Graycove and then like the Graycove motto and maybe a symbol or something. So it's just something simple, you know? Nothing too crazy, but I thought that'd be kind of fun. I really want to do a short comic where my comic characters interact with Graycove Trio. I don't know, thought it would be funny. Spoiler, they wouldn't be friends. Fair enough. OMG, hi, it's Laura. I know a couple of Laura's. I need some context. Where do I know you from? Yeah, college Laura, high school Laura. I can't imagine high school Laura would be in the chat, but maybe. Been a while. I was on your stream before. Ah, okay. So a Laura from the stream, that's... I can barely remember Laura's I've met in real life. I'm sorry, my memory is very poor. Hazel's necklace would be a good merch idea. That would be cool. It looks like you guys have some deep hidden Laura lore. I mean, I think I only know 2 real life Lauras. But yeah, the one from high school was just one of the most interesting people in the world. And you went, like, she climbed Mount Everest at some point while we were in high school. Like, and she had pictures, and she didn't brag about it. You had to, like, specifically ask her, and she'd be like, oh yeah, I did. Here's, like, a little thing about it. She did rock climbing. She came in more than once, and I'd see her just like bandaging her fingers, and I was like, what's up? She's like, I just broke it this morning. And it's like, what the hell, Laura? Like, she was crazy. She did so much stuff. She had the craziest stories, but like one of those people where you'd have to ask her about them or you would never find out about it. That is one cool sounding person. Yeah, she was cool. And like I didn't know her crazy well. We were just kind of like in the same friend group. But yeah, she just had some crazy stories. My mom's grandparents have a summer home in Utah. My family used to go cliff jumping into water in Copper Canyon all the time. The cliffs can go over 100 feet tall. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, that's very cool. I could never. I'm not a fan of heights. But that is very interesting. Marshall, what is the weirdest thing you've seen online? I mean, there's a lot of really weird stuff online, so I don't know how I would list the weirdest. And I feel like the weirdest things have been gross, so I don't know. And I don't want to send anyone down a dark path on Google looking for it, so we'll leave it at that. Crap. Wrong one again. Yes, we're very sorry about the ads, but the ads keep the lights on, so sorry. They're here to stay. I'm taking Python right now, and we got a new teacher. He hasn't given us much work, so I guess it's a free credit. Those are the best kind of teachers. I took criminology in college, and my absolute favorite prof was a retired homicide detective who told us the coolest stories and started the class off by saying, "So I don't believe in tests." I think he only ever gave us one assignment. It was extremely easy, and then we had one exam at the very end of the class that he had to give us as part of like the college's rules, I guess. And it was the easiest exam I've taken in my life. I finished it in 15 minutes. We were given 3 hours. Python is coding, by the way. Okay, that's what I thought it was, but I also kind of liked picturing that you were just taking snake class. Like, oh, that's fun. I love teachers like that. Yeah, me too. He was the coolest. And he was in a documentary. Like, it was a small Canadian documentary about the Charlottetown bomber, because he was one of the like lead detectives on it. And it was just so cool. I thought this one was done already. Okay, well, we can just copy paste this in. Looks like we have 4 more left to do, so that's not bad. Thankfully, this one and the final one are the same. Technically, you don't actually see the final one when it's in a loop. It's just you put it there as reference for when you're doing this pose, so you have something to compare it to. But I like seeing them all colored in, so I'm just gonna quickly copy paste this. Okay, on this one. Ah, shucks, finna go to sleep. Well, thank you for joining us. Laura, we'll see you next time, I guess. Have a good night. I get that. I hate feeling like I'm wasting someone's time. Yeah, and like I agree. I like having a clear expectation on like what homework should be done and like when it needs to be done by, you know, all that kind of stuff. But that was my first year in college, and I think I was taking a couple other classes. So it was nice having one where it's like, cool, I get to show up, hear this ex-homicide detective's really cool stories, and then leave. And I don't have to worry about it that much. And honestly, just the subject of the class was enough to keep me invested, because it was all about like crime and the justice system, stuff like that, and I found it really interesting. Like in my old job, I was too young to do anything important, so I would just sweep every day forever. Felt useless, it was the worst. Yeah. I used to, when I was still in high school, I worked at a grocery store, and you basically just stood there the entire shift and scanned people's food, and it was so brain-numbingly boring. It was by far one of the worst jobs I've ever had. And I worked at a summer camp where it was like 16-hour days in a very, very hot kitchen with no AC, and I would still take that over working at a grocery store. I might start making an arts and craft thing, or I'll force myself to continue working on drawing or start a new one, but I'm too awake to sleep and do nothing but too tired to feel super motivated. Yeah, I've been there before. I find if I do start sketching, it'll either A, wake me right up and I'll end up drawing for like hours into the night, or it'll do exactly what I want it to do and just knock me out. So I'll get like 10 minutes in and then I'm tired enough to go to bed. I work at a dry cleaners right now. I run around most of the time, bagging clothes, taking put away orders, pressing clothes and whatnot. Yeah, I always prefer jobs that have me busy, especially if it's doing multiple, or like if there's different tasks involved. So like working at the bookstore was great for that, because there was just so much that needs to be done in a bookstore in a day. And especially there, you could kind of be like, I would really like to work on this today. Is that fine? And everyone would be like, yep, you got it. It's like, cool. Like, it's one thing to be boring, another thing to be part of a team and never actually participate. If I have a job, I don't want to be idle, I want to earn my wages, you know? Yeah, when I still worked at the bookstore, I felt exactly the same way, and if I went back, I would still feel that way. I prefer to stay busy if I'm at a job, partly because it goes quicker. And just I prefer to know that I'm doing a good job. Graycove audiobook, I feel like you'd be good for that. You got a nice calm voice. Yeah, it's not squeaky like that one guy said earlier. Good to know. I feel like my voice would be a little too monotone for an audiobook. I'm trying to, like, I'd be really bad at doing voices. Squeaky? Yeah, someone, before the stream even started, they're like, squeaky, tinny voice. And I've never gotten that feedback, so I texted Jasper on the spot and I was like, is my voice squeaky? Is it tinny? Have I been lied to this whole time? Yeah, and then I quit streaming entirely because I got one bad insult about my voice. think with enough practice you can pull off a good handful of audiobook narration. Well, that's cool. I never thought of doing that, but that's interesting. Gets criticized once, dies. They didn't just shut down the stream, they also hired a black market assassin to murder the guy who insulted. That's really funny. The assassin is me. I'm on the way. Funny enough, I told my planning teacher in high school I hated him, and he asked me what job I wanted in the future, and every time he asked me I would just say, hit woman. And he's like, no, you have to pick a real one. I was like, that is a job. You sound great. I listened to a musical artist that sounds a lot like you. That's cool. Who's the artist? I'm curious now. To the person who said Marshall's voice is squeaky, Hazel's coming to your house with an RPG 2:45 in the morning. Yeah, I mean, Hitwoman was my dream job, but it's such a boys' club. It's hard to break into if you don't have the networking. So I guess I'll settle for drawing cartoon animals. I was gonna do that trend of your favorite character says a lot about you, and I realize all my favorite characters are either gruff and weary, Griff, or upbeat and optimistic with no exceptions, and that was weird. I mean, that means that the story is perfect for you, because the main characters are gruff and weary and upbeat and optimistic. Amanda Fagan, I haven't been on her channel in a while though. I'll have to look her up, see if I sound like her. I have arrived. Oh, thank you for joining us. I was in a bit of pain earlier, just dealing with natural body pain, and it finally left, but reminded myself it exists, so it's probably gonna come back. Yeah, I hate when that happens. You kind of remind yourself that something was feeling sore, and then you feel it again after you manage to ignore it. That's too bad. Hope you feel better, dude. Okay. That's all done, so we can do the spots now. I had a lot of pain in the lower part of my leg when I touched it. I almost cried. That's not good. I hope you feel better as well. Slept a lot and I'm finding it hard to turn to the left. Yeah, I've had that issue a couple of times. It's entirely my fault though, because I sleep in the exact way that doctors are like, do not sleep or else you're gonna wake up in pain. And then I wake up in pain and pretend I'm surprised about it. I have a question. Is Graycove part of a larger kingdom, or is it just one small independent town? Graycove is it is mostly just the one, like, largest town, large-ish, I should say, town, with the area around it considered, like, Graycove territory. And, like, Graycove has a king that lives in Graycove, and so there's probably a couple of smaller communities that are like within that area and considered part of, you know, the Graycove town, I suppose. So like the logging camp is a part of Graycove technically. It's just outside of Graycove, the town, so I don't know. We haven't really planned much on other settlements. We have a couple in mind, but we haven't looked at it too close. A king, you say? Yes, he will be coming up in our current chapter. To shreds, you say? Would it be a lion because the Lion King? No, we did show the king already for one. He's in like one panel in the matriarch's background. The Life of the Matriarch post. But yes, the king is coming up soon. Does the king and the matriarch know each other? Yeah, like I just said, he's in the Life of the Matriarch post at the very end. You see him like handing off her, showing a contract to her. What did I miss? Not much. We're talking about the Graycove King. Oh wait, it is the bear? Yes, it is that bear. I think I already confirmed it in response to someone in Webtoon in the comments. But the Bear King is a Pizzly bear, so a polar bear grizzly mix. Someone said on today's post, Griff says parachute because he wants parachute pants to pop and lock it, and it made me laugh pretty hard. Yeah, I saw that one too. That was pretty funny. That's correct, actually. Yeah, that's what we're going to show on the next page. It actually is because he wants to pop and lock it, and that's the only reason he brought it up. He's just changing the subject. I can't speak with my words, I can only speak with my moves. Yeah, I think in that moment, if Hazel saw that, I think she would just have a breakdown. Like, the laughing kind, but like, I don't know how she would react to that. That'd be very out of character setting thing to do. Like, oh, that bonk to the head really did a number on you, dude. We need to get you to a hospital. This one's a little too wide on this. Oop, too much. Too much. Okay, this one could probably be a little bit wider. Are the hyenas in the bandit camp actually the matriarch's children, or is it because she loves them all like children? So she calls all of the hyenas in the camp her children, and they all have to treat her like not quite their mother exactly, but in that vein, you know? But some of them are her biological children, so like Foster is hers. And we show her holding like a couple of hyenas in the Life of the Matriarch comic, and like those are her kids. But not all of them. That would be a crazy amount of kids for one character to have. So yeah, she's the mother of the entire camp, but she's only the biological mother of some of them. One of the kids she's holding in that comic is Foster. Yeah, one of them is Foster. The coloring is the same. That's kind of the only hint that we show out of that. And I think the other one she's holding is the hyena Hulu takes the bag off of Griff's head in the first page of that chapter. And you like kind of see them walking away, but I don't remember specifically. My girlfriend would like your stream. She loves forest stuff and animals. Next week I'm gonna try to get her to watch the stream. That'd be cool. Hopefully we are entertaining enough for her. Maybe for next week we'll do another one of those background character design with the poles that Jasper loves so much. Or something similar, maybe. We'll see. This one's mostly coloring in the walk cycle, so it'd be nice if next week could be a little more heavy on the drawing. I've seen at least 2 settings where post-apocalyptic Canada is habited by anthropomorphic animals. Does this mean if the nukes ever fly off, we'll get Graycove in the world? I'm gonna be honest, I think the odds of that are probably 0. I don't think the science will back it up. You know? Nice, be a little bit lighter. We can dream though. Yeah, you can dream. Yeah, I want to do a whole theory video on why Graycove isn't post-nuclear war. That sounds fun. I think we're gonna hint a little more at what happens in chapter 7. It's gonna be quite a while till we get there. There's a lot of pages in between now and then, but... My wife is leaving me because of my Star Wars addiction. That's a very sad joke. Does your comic count as a furry comic? I don't consider it a furry comic, but a lot of people do, so I guess it's, you know, to each their own. If you want to think of it as one, go ahead, you know, whatever you want. But I, as the creator, don't consider it one. But like, if that's how you want to think of it, to each their own. Yeah, all in the eye of the beholder. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a difference between a comic with anthropomorphic animals and a furry comic. Yeah, I agree 100% with Luke. I think that there is a distinct difference between the two. And I think a lot of furry comics end up with a, like, sexual undertone or overtone, depending, that Graycove is not going to have at any point in time. That's not the point of the comic. But once again, to each their own. If Hazel had her eyes drawn more realistic than the dots, what color would they be? I did do a drawing of like a realistic deer head and was like, Hazel. And I believe her eyes were green in that. But like green, Hazel, very close to the same color. I saw a boy sitting on the curb in rags. I asked if he was an orphan. He said, "What gave me away?" I said, "Your parents." That's super messed up. That's really funny. Okay, 2 left. Sorry about that furry bit. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. I get called a furry daily now on YouTube, and I'm not one, but I don't particularly care. Like, it's not the end of the world. Anyone who cares enough to ask will know that we are not furries, and it's not considered a furry comic. And that's all that really matters. I figured right off the bat, with it being mostly animal characters, that we would have a very large furry fan base, and that's perfectly fine. And if you want to consider it a furry comic, that is also perfectly fine. Yeah, exactly what Jasper said. Furries are currently paying our bills. So, like, we're good. What do you care? Call a bear with no teeth a gummy bear? I'm gonna go ahead and hit the hay. This was a nice first stream. Thanks for the entertainment. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Have a good rest of your night. You're telling me I shrimp fried this rice? real sick of drawing Hazel at this point. Or I should say coloring Hazel. We only got 2 more to go, and then we're done. What time is it for you, if you don't mind me asking? It is 8:45 here. PM. Why did the bike fall? Because it was too tired. Haha. Good one. I had a piercer a couple years ago who was doing my nose piercing for me. And he was like an older guy with a like barbecue dad personality, so he kept telling like really cheesy jokes the entire time. And I was laughing really hard, and he was near the end, he was like, "Wow, you're like the best client. You laugh at all my jokes." And I didn't have the heart to tell him that it's because I nervous laugh. And I was scared about getting stabbed in the face. I was like, "Yeah, dude, you're really funny. Please get this over with." Oh, sorry, generic account. I did not see your question. Let me scroll back up. I asked this question before, I want to ask again. Do these self-aware animals only live around the area in Graycove, or can they be found across the world? Yeah, exactly what Jasper said. Sorry, we can't tell you. We're gonna show more areas later on, but we don't like to give too much away in case we want to, we don't want to potentially spoil things. So we can be a little nitpicky on which questions we answer sometimes. Which species have the glow stick pattern other than the deers and that one zebra? We've showed quite a few now. There's like some goats, sheep, cows. There's a family of boars that you can see in chapter 3 or 4, I forget. They all have the pattern. It's mostly herbivores, but there are exceptions. Oh, yep, mammoth. Do animals live as long as humans, or do they live as long as their animal usually lives? We're kind of basing it off of human age, just to keep it simple, since every animal has a different life expectancy, and it can be kind of hard to keep track of. And like we want these characters to live a lot longer than they normally would. Especially like if we add like a possum character or something. Possums generally live like 2 years, which is very, very sad. So yeah, we want to be able to show like a whole life with these characters, and that's hard to do if they have a really short life expectancy, so we're kind of basing it off of human age. So like when I describe Hazel, Griffin, Russell's age, I usually say they're in their like mid to late 20s. But I don't like really giving specific numbers. If Griff had the glow pattern, what color would you make it? Oh, that's a good question. I think he would also have a blue pattern, but it wouldn't be the same blue that Hazel has, because hers is kind of like almost a turquoise, where I think his would be not purple, but getting closer to that, like more of around the navy blue color, but lighter obviously. Let me see if I can... What color would it be? Yeah, I think it'd be closer to this. In my mind anyways. But you are free to speculate. Now I have to erase that. How do I get this out of here? Delete. There we go. Hazel strikes me as 25, while Griff strikes me as 27 to 28. Yeah, those are solid numbers. Russell would be older than both of them. Yeah, if Griff glowed when he was angry, he would just be glowing constantly. Like, especially in his first few chapters. He'd be lit up. Would it be possible for an animal to change their glow pattern if they use special makeup? For example, an animal could have a custom rainbow pattern. No. They're born with the patterns that they're born with. They can't really do anything to change them. They can change it like while they age. So like it's the same as like animals having markings when they're babies that they don't have when they're adults. So like if Hazel's mother had not been a fallow deer who keep their back spots into adulthood, like if Hazel had been a regular white-tailed deer, she wouldn't have any of the spots on her back. She would have grown out of them as she aged. So yeah, they can lose patterns as they age or like have less, but that's about it. They can't really change them. They could cover them. They could wear makeup or something if they felt the need to. But they wouldn't be able to like make the makeup glow, I guess, unless it glowed through the makeup somehow. Then I guess maybe you could shift the color a little. I don't know how exactly that would work. Just to bother you one more time, what color would Russell be? Sorry to keep bothering you with that type of question. Oh no, that's perfectly fine. Sorry, if you asked earlier, I didn't see it. Thank you for the $5 though. I think Russell's color would be a green. I think a nice green would be good against like the orange. Do do you plan on making a Discord server for Graycove so we can talk about the settings, post fan art, etc.? I said it a little bit earlier. If you guys wanted to make like a Graycove Discord fan server, you can absolutely go for it. I just don't want to make one myself and then have to moderate it or, be responsible of it in any kind of way, because I have enough work on my plate, frankly, and I'm not really a fan of group chats in general. Oh shoot, I'm doing this in the wrong layer again. Do you sell art? I did at one point. On my personal website I had art up for a little while. But it costs like an additional $30 a month to keep the store up, and I wasn't really getting any sales, so I took that down. So yeah, the cost of having an online store up wasn't worth it. If we started making Graycove merch and like selling it through our personal website, then we might bring back doing like art prints that are non-Graycove related, just as like a side thing. But similar to making merchandise, the costs, we just kind of gotta wait till we have some more disposable income, because there's a higher risk with that. Which, thankfully, when we were selling art, we weren't getting anything printed. We were going to do print on demand, but there was no demand, so we took the store down. Sorry, Luke, it would be a little more than $30, because when we were just doing art prints, and it was just that, we were just doing print on demand. If we were doing Graycove stuff, it would probably be a bit more complicated than that, because usually with like stickers or keychains you have to buy in bulk. So we'd have to do that ahead of time, and then, there's no guarantee that you get any sales. So maybe in the future. But yeah, like I said earlier, we'll have to wait and see. Would Herb use Hazel as a flashlight? That's a funny question. I mean, he has his own spots, not as many, but he can also glow. So he wouldn't necessarily need to. Hazel would glow brighter because she has more spots. So maybe? Oops, I forgot to do her hands and her feet again. Plus, I feel like we haven't actually explored it at all, but I feel like there'd be some level of like etiquette of it would be rude to ask someone to start glowing just for like a utility purpose. It's more of like they will if they feel like it or they feel the need to. in a situation. So like Hazel starts glowing in the start of chapter 1 without Griff asking her to. I'm just coming up with that on the spot. I'm not sure, but that's kind of the vibe that I get from it. And not every character would glow the same way or the same amount, depending. Finally, we're on the last one. I don't think I've missed anything so far, so that's good. Yeah, sorry, I only just saw that comment, but yeah, we're not doing commissions. We might in the future. I'm not a huge fan of taking on commissions, so I do it pretty rarely. I think the last time I was doing them was for making rigs, and rigs take like between 8 to 16 hours to make, and it's a headache the entire time. So I only did a couple, and then I was like, okay, this isn't worth it. How long does it take to do an animation? It kind of depends on what type of animation you're making and how long you want it to be and how complex the motion in it is. So if it's hand-drawn animation, it's going to take significantly longer than rigged animation. Rigged animation is when you take an electronic puppet of a character and you move it around. So I technically have rigs for Hazel and Russell, and that's how I made the short film that's on my channel. They are not good rigs, unfortunately. They brought someone into our school to teach us how to make rigs, but he was only there for like a week, so it was really like a crash course in making them, and I've learned a lot more about making rigs since then just on my own. So eventually I would like to recreate the rigs and make them closer to how they look in the comics, because at the time, like, that was just my first draft of the characters, so they don't look great. And I would want to make parts of them a lot more complicated than I did, so my original rig for their muzzles, there was kind of just a solid piece attached to their head, and then I would draw the mouth over top of that without really changing the muzzle section. And I think if I did it again, I would want to make it into 2 separate pieces that can open and close with the actual like teeth and tongue and like mouth background and everything. But making mouths rigged like that is really complicated. And it's been a minute since I've done a rig, so I would have to kind of reteach myself some stuff. Yeah, exactly what Jasper said. 2-minute short film that I made for school took me 6 months. And that is while I was doing other stuff on the side, and like I had to make everything for the film, like all of the backgrounds, character rigs, effects, everything. So it takes a lot amount of time. And like maybe we could do something like some weird volunteer group collaboration animation in the future. There's an episode of Bob's Burgers where it was entirely animated by fans, so like each person got a single scene from the episode, so every scene is in a different art style, and it's really cool. So that's potentially interesting. I don't know exactly how that would work, but maybe in the future. Something to think about. Imagine if they had cable TV in Graycove instead of Pimp My Ride, it would be Pimp My Cart. Or MTV tents instead of MTV cribs. That's funny. Damn, Jasper just throwing Luke under the bus. This was before we learned more about Griff, so I decided that it was possible Griff was older than Jack. I deserve to be thrown under. Yeah, no. Sorry, Luke, they're twins. Well, triplets, technically, but identical twins from a triplet set, I guess. In human cities in the Graycove universe, would traffic be as bad as the real cities? Los Angeles would still have LA traffic, but it is carts instead of cars. I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to answer too much about what human settlements would look like. But we will eventually get to that in the story. I wonder how rare that is, twins in a triplet set. I have no idea. I did have to Google to make sure that it's, a possibility, and obviously it is. It would just be one egg that splits into two and then a separate egg. But yeah, I don't think it'd be super rare in animals since they usually have multiple children per birth. Oh, in human terms. I mean, I think triplets are already pretty rare for humans. But I have no idea. Probably gonna head to bed soon. It's like midnight here on the East Coast. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope you have a good evening. Or I guess very late night. Who do you guys think will be the overarching villain? I think it's Russell. Excellent choice. It's definitely Russell. Would it be okay if I take a screenshot of a character and use it as my profile pic? Yeah, I don't have any problems with that. Yeah, exactly what Jasper said. There's no way for us to really stop you, so go right ahead. Thanks for joining us, Wolf. I hope you also have a lovely rest of your evening. Russell would be the type of character who is wanted in several countries for various international crimes. Yeah, probably. Oh yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to do something special for the 200,000 stream. I have no idea what, so yeah, if you guys have any ideas, throw them out there. One last question. Who's your fave to draw? I think if it's favorite in terms of like easiest to draw, it would probably be Hazel. Like, she's pretty easy. She's basically just a lot of ovals, and that's it. Yeah, I think it would be Hazel. And like, I like coloring her spots, because I think they're pretty. They're a nice color. It's satisfying to color them in. Although, like, each character, when you're coloring them in, they all have a one single color in their palette. Then once you put it in, you're like, ah, there they are. Now he looks right. For Griff, it's the darker shade in his palette. For Hazel, it's the blue in her spots. I think for Russell, it's like that base orange color, which is easy enough. It's the first one you put in. It's like, ah, there he is. You should do a game of Graycove Gartic phone for 200k. That would be awesome. I don't know what that game is. I'll look it up later. Maybe. Follow up to Tiger's question, what character is your favorite? I said it earlier as well, but I think the matriarch is still my favorite character at the moment. And like that's partly because she was, like one of the main characters of the last chapter. I'm sure as the comic goes on, my answer is going to change. But yeah. Right now it's the matriarch. Show a QR code, limited to 10 people or something. Yeah, if we can figure it out, we'll take a look. We'll consider that. Hazel, if the generational trauma R was canon. Do you consider the anthropomorphic animal community different from actual furries? I think anthro and furry communities are completely different. Yeah, I think they are different, and like I said earlier, I don't really consider Graycove to be a furry comic. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about either community, I don't think. I kind of just jumped in with Graycove and was like, here's my story. Like, I didn't do research ahead of time beyond, like, animal facts and stuff. So I don't really know what the anthro community is, and I don't know what goes into that, and I don't know how it differentiates between from furries. I just know what I consider Graycove and what I don't consider Graycove, so I don't know. Awesome, well thank you for joining us, Tiger Water. I hope you have a good night. If Hazel has the blue blood, would that mean that if someone made gore of it, it would be blue instead of red? Yeah, I guess so. I hadn't thought of it, like, to the point of gore, but yeah, I guess it would be. How long have you been doing art for? That's a good question. I don't remember when I started, because I started taking art classes, probably in middle school, and kept them up, in private lessons in middle school, high school, art classes in high school, then getting my art fine arts certificate in college, and then getting my certificate for animation at a different college. So it's been a long minute. Remember, Marshall, keep your paints juicy. Unfortunately, I haven't been doing a whole lot of painting recently. I would like to get back into it. But I don't have too much time at the moment. Shoot, almost done. Okay. The last few spots and then we're done. Heck yes, and let's see how it looks. Nice. I think that turned out pretty solid. It's not perfect, of course, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think there's probably less mistakes in this one than there is in Griff's, because I think I did Griff's first when I was reminding myself how to do a walk cycle. Marshall must now be regretting how detailed she made Hazel. I mean, I do sometimes. Sometimes I hate the spots, but I also love them, so it goes back and forth, you know. But I want to see what the spots look up when they light up. So let me see how difficult that would be to do real quick. And this is why I did all of the spots on the color layer, so that when I make this, I can go across, go into here, go to the color layer, select it all, copy, and paste. And then we're gonna go over here, take blending, and a blur node. Can't go wrong with that one. And then we're just gonna quickly, I have to link this to this. And we're gonna take this, turn animate off, and shrink Hazel down real quick so she fits in the camera frame. Let's turn blending to, let's do hard light. Probably a good choice. And the blur, probably to 2. Hey, we got a little bit of a glow going. Not a ton, but it's not bad. That to that, this to this. Nice. Awesome. So yeah, that works. I'll have to go through and copy paste every single spot throughout the walk. But yeah, as you can see, we can make them glow for the walk animation if we want to. So that's pretty cool. I want to do it in a slightly different way than I did here, but I just wanted to show you guys, so I'm going to delete that. Let's undo all of the changes that we made and size her back up. There we go. So yeah, I'll do that a little bit different later, but I'll add some like cool shading and stuff to her when I have a chance. And hopefully I can post her walk cycle same as I did Griff's maybe sometime next week. But we're hitting 9:30 about now, and that's usually when I call it quits for the night. So we're not going to get to Russell's walk cycle tonight. Thankfully his will be a lot faster to do than these guys because he has half the amount of frames since he has to go twice the speed as them for half the distance to be able to keep up. So yeah, we'll call it the night. We'll call it here for the night. It was nice to have some company while I did all of this coloring because, like I said earlier, it is so boring to do that stage in any animation. I hate the coloring part. So it's nice that it's done. But I hope you all have wonderful evenings, and I will see you next time.